Okay, guys, welcome back to business. Are you ready for more stats and probs? I hope you're ready, because I'm ready too. Okay? Now, here's the question. Remember last time, I wasn't able to do this question because I want to go to my item right away. But now, this item's for the big brothers in my church. Alright? So here's the item that we're gonna do. It goes like this. Let's read it together, shall we? Brother Peter, Brother Peter, my church pastor in church, shout out to you po, Brother Pete, because I remember talaga last time whenever we meet together in church, we have good fellowship with the Lord there. So, shout out talaga para sa inyo because you're like a good brother in Christ. So, thank you, Lord, for Brother Peter. Shout out to you po. I hope you stay blessed po, Brother Pete. Okay? So, yan. So, Brother Peter enjoys eating apples as much, or the doctor's maximum says, eating an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Ayan. Alam mo talaga kapag kumain ka ng mansanas, ay nako, Kuya Kim, ano na? Ano talaga kapag kumain ka ng mansanas? Ano yung mga mansanas na yun? Ay maraming nutrition. Kung maraming nutrition ng mga mansanas, mayroon vitamin A, may vitamin C, tapos may fiber, at may juice man, nakain naman naman. Marami sila yung nasa, may maasim. Pero ano naman talaga ang iba ng nagkakarapanan? Ang tama rin na kumain ng mansanas ay kailangan dapat magkumuha ng isang kagat. Dahil kailangan ano mo bakit kaya yung mansanas? Dahil ang mga mansanas ay isang prutas na kayo naman kanina agad-agad kaya ninahiwain. Para kapag nagiging naman kayo at gusto naman talaga mag-enerhiya para ma-healthy na kayo, kaya tayo kuha niya mga mansanas sa buong mansanas. Samantala kung gusto niya actually video buong sa namin, i-ask mo yung comment mo, Kuya Kim, ano na? Lagi tataan, importante may alam. Kung sige ko yun, sa susunod video, 24 oras. Tadot! Nice! Very good, Kuya Kim. Okay. So that is the story. So that is the meaning of the verse, okay? When you eat an apple, it keeps the doctor away. Because that's what the Dr. Maxim says. Whenever he eats an apple, he reminisces about God providing us the good fruit that he has given to us. Yo! You know God has created so many good things for us. He even made the good fruit. So remember, in Matthew chapter 12, verse 33, you can tell each tree from the fruit you see. If the tree bears bad fruit, don't go to the tree because it emits bad fruit. Oh, that's what I tried to tell you. And this Bible verse is dedicated for me. Thank you, Rafi. Because if a tree bears good fruit, therefore that tree has good fruit for you to eat. But if a tree were to bear bad fruit, therefore don't eat any fruit from that tree, because that's when hatredness will start to occur. Just like remember in brother Adam and and sister Eve, when they ate from the tree of fruit and wisdom, they did not ask God, but they were tempted by the serpent, and that's how all the sin had started. That's right, Ma'am Lisa Mutsin. I hope you understood now about the Bible. Anyway, so now let's go now to this, okay? So God provided us the good fruit He has given to us. The apples he's eating consists of juice that make him strong and healthy. Ayan, kagaya ng sabi ko sa'yo, di ba yung sabi ni Kuya Kim, lahat yung mga mansanas ay may juice. May laman. May sweetness, may tamis. Dahil sa juice, di ba? Kaya naman, you can make apple juice, di ba? And they make him strong and healthy. Tapos, isang araw, when he went into the grocery store, binili niya ng 64 pieces of apples. Wow! 64 apples, ang dami yun Parang gusto niya kadala kumain na lahat ng mga mansanas na yan Siyempre naman, alam mo talaga kapag kumain ko ng mansanas, masusansya lang ako at yung buong katawan ko. Yes, correct. And according to statistics, the average ml of juice in an apple is 75 ml. O yan. Ibig sabihin, di ba remember yung isang mansanas, meron kang ml sa juice. Ngayon, it says here, the average ml of juice is 75. So yan. So now, he bought 64 pieces of apples. So I think that might be our square root of n. Bakit square root of n? Kasi nga may sample, di ba? Di ba, remember kapag pumunta ka sa grocery store, lahat yung mga mansanas, makita mo, di ba? So you try to choose how many apples you want to buy so that you can taste their sweetness. Their sweetness. And then that's how you get the sample. Di ba? Like halimbawa, di ba, remember you want to buy something in the fruit store, di ba? Gusto mo bilhin ng mga bananas, di ba? There are 10 bunches of bananas, but you want to get 3 as a sample. So when you buy some samples, that is the letter S or the N, di ba? The sample size, di ba? So alin yung mga gusto mo binili, kung yan talaga yung gusto mo bibili, Yun ang sample size N. Okay? So yan. So now let's go to the question. Letter A. Brother Peter ate an apple which contains 72 ml of juice. Whose corresponding z-score is -2. So for the standard deviation. Ayan. So now let's write the equation down. So the equation will look like something like this. Diba, remember sabi dito, Brother Peter enjoys eating apples. And then since he ate an apple that consists of 72 ml of juice, yun nga. So let's identify the given. So kagaya ng sabi ko sa'yo, you know already the formula for central limit theorem, di ba? The formula for central limit theorem is always like this, di ba? So you know na the formula. Z is equivalent to x minus mu divided by standard deviation over square root of n. That is the formula. So now let's identify the given. The 64 piece of apple, that is your n. So therefore, n stands for 64. What is x? 72 ml of juice, di ba? So that's our x, our raw score. 72 ml. Our mu is 75. Kasi nga sabi ko dito, according to statistics, the average ml of juice in an apple is 75 ml. Tapos, the z-score is -2. So that is our z. So now we're looking for our standard deviation, which we are looking for. So now our equation will look like this, di ba? So therefore, we have -2 is equivalent to 72 minus 75. Do you remember x is 72? Our mu is 75. And then, standard deviation over square root of 64. Tama? So yan. So now what we do first? First of all, we need to simplify the equation. So we need to simplify the equation para hindi tayo mahirapan. Okay? So therefore, we can simplify 72 minus 75 to give us -3. So therefore, it will become -2 is equivalent to -3 over, remember, sigma, standard deviation, square root of 64 is 8. Tama? So now we have something like this. O yan. Diba, remember, it's just like what I told you in the previous item. Meron tayong, ano yun? We have a complex fraction such that the variable is in the denominator. Not like, remember what happened during that time when I showed you my stats and props last time. The variable is at the base denominator. But here, it's on the numerator of the denominator. So what we do to get the numerator up there? Ganito kasi yun. First, di ba remember, if you were to rewrite the equation, it will look like something like this. -2 over 1 is equivalent to -3 over this guy, di ba? So yan. Now what do we do? Ang kailangan namin gagawin ay multiply both sides where the denominator is, di ba? So you have to take the entire quantity. Like for example, di ba remember if you have 1/4, di ba? Let's say for example, if you have 1/4, you need to multiply that on both sides so that you can get the answer, di ba? So therefore, we multiply both sides by, or we can simply get the LCD. Di ba remember the LCD is sigma times 8. So LCD that, this one cancels. Di ba remember kung mag-LCD tayo dito, this one will cancel. Then here we get sigma divided by 8 over here, di ba? Now we multiply. So therefore, our new equation will become -2 sigma over 8 is equivalent to -3. So now, don't you think we have a much more simplified fraction? Yes, we do. And now, what we do next? Ganito na. Di ba remember here, we can simplify this into, this is -1 and this is -4. So therefore, the equation will become negative sigma over 4 is equivalent to -3 over 1. So now we can apply the basic cross multiplication method. Here we have -3 times 4 and that is negative sigma is equivalent to -12. But we can't have a negative variable. So kailangan tayo mag-divide ng -1 on both sides. So therefore, as we do that, dividing both sides by -1, therefore sigma is 12. Okay? So therefore, the standard deviation in the normal distribution is 12. Now let's double check. So remember, we have 72 minus 75, and that is -3. And then on the bottom, we have this, diba? We have 12 divided by 8. So what's 12 divided by 8? That's the same as 4 No. 3 halves, di ba? 3 halves, di ba? Kasi divide both sides by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And now, we have this. We have negative 3 over 3 halves, di ba? So therefore, we divide the fraction. So as we divide the fraction, divide by 3 halves, we get something like this. Negative 3 over 1 times 2/3. Therefore, the negative cancel, and that's just negative 1 times 2. And that, the answer is negative 2. So yan. So that is our z-score. Our z-score is negative 2. So tama, we got the answer right. Okay? Now, let's draw that in the normal curve. So therefore, standard deviation is 3 halves, di ba? And that's the same as 1 and 1/2, di ba? Kasi di ba remember, 12 divided by 8 is the same as 3 halves. And 3 halves is 1 and 1/2. And 1 and 1/2 in decimal is 1.5. So therefore, if our mean is 75, dito siya. So this is 76.5, 78, 79.5, di ba? And then on the left side, we have 73.5, this is 72, and this is 70.5. Tama? So, tama. Di ba remember our z-score of negative 2, that is where the 72 ml lands. So, tama. Very good. Okay? Now, you're able to solve the equation. And that's in part 1. So, now let's check with my solution sheet. Ito ko kasi yung ginawa ko sa Microsoft Excel. Ang ginawa ko dito, first, I write the equation. And it should look like this. 72 minus 75 divide by sigma divided by the square root of 64 equals negative 2. So the first thing I rather do is, ayan, kasi ang ginawa ko dito, I simplify all the numbers first. But ang ginawa ko dito, I bring the standard D up. The entire standard deviation. So therefore, di ba remember, 72 minus 75, and then divide by the square root of, and then divide by sigma divided by the square root of 64, I brought everything up first. So the one on the right side cancels, and then on the left side, we have ano to? Negative 2 times sigma divided by the square root of 64, which is the same as what we got here, di ba? Negative 2 is equivalent to negative 2 times sigma divided by 8 is equivalent to negative 3 over 1, di ba? So it looked like something like this, di ba? As we simplify the numbers. And as we simplify the numbers, yun nga, we write the fraction. We simplify the fraction. And that becomes, tama, we got negative sigma over 4 is equivalent to negative 3, di ba? So therefore, di ba remember, negative sigma, that is negative 1. And since you don't need to write negative 1 anymore because of identity property of multiplication, so therefore, we just write negative sigma na lang. And then that becomes, ano to? Remember, we multiply the denominator, so negative 3 times 4, and that's negative 12, di ba? So negative sigma is equivalent to negative 12. And then, divide both sides by negative 1, we get 12. So the answer is correct. We type there correct because of this. If standardized, 72, 75, then 12 divided by the square root of 64 equals negative 2. We type correct if the answer is correct. If false, try again. And the answer is correct! Diba? So yan. Now that's letter A. Next, letter B. Remember the standard deviation, ha? Kasi ang kailangan dapat, you need to get the right answer. Remember, just like what I told you, if your requisite answer is wrong, therefore, lahat na yan, mali. Okay? Now, let's go to letter B. Find the probability of eating an apple that does not consist 72.5 ml to 78.85 ml of juice. Yan. That's a bit tricky. Bakit? Kasi nga, di ba remember, sabi ko dito, it says eating an apple that does not consist. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya kasali sa 72.5 ml to 78.85 ml. So yan. Now, let's look at our z-table. So, di ba remember, this is our normal distribution, di ba? Our normal distribution should look like something like, ano to? Like this, di ba? That was the distribution I drew a while ago. So sabi ko dito, where is the 72.5 ml? Dito siya, di ba? Although you're not so sure where that is, di ba? But we know the clue is in between -2 to -1, di ba? And then 78.85, it's in between the two, di ba? It's right here, di ba? Pero sabi ko dito, it should not consist. That means it should not be within this point. So what is it asking for? This. Di ba? Yung naka-shade, di ba? It says does not consist, di ba? Like for example, di ba, remember from 8:30 to 9. If it's not 8:30 to 9, therefore it should be earlier than 8:30 or later than 9 o'clock. Di ba? So yan. So these are the ones that we're looking for. Now, we solve for the same. So ganito kasi yun. Di ba, remember I told you we have 72.5 minus 75. Di ba, remember that's negative, ano yun? Negative 2.5. So negative 2.5 divided by 3 halves, di ba? That's the same as negative 2 and 1 halves. 2 and 1 halves divided by 3 halves, di ba? Change it to improper fraction and it should go like this, di ba? 5 over 2. Then times 2 over 3, di ba? So therefore it's 5 over 3, di ba? So 5 thirds. And that's the same as 2 and 1 thirds. Di ba? 2 and 2 thirds, di ba? But it's negative, di ba? So kailangan dapat negative 2 and 2 thirds, di ba? So it's right here, di ba? Negative 1 and 2 thirds. So tama, it's right here. That is the z-score. Dito, di ba? On the right-hand side, di ba, remember that's the left, di ba? So that's negative, ano yun? Negative 1 2 thirds or negative 1.67. That is the z-score. On the right-hand side, di ba, remember we have 78.85, di ba? So 78.85 minus 75. So when we do the math here, $3.85. So 3.85, di ba? Then 3.85 divide by 12 over 8, which is the same as 3 halves, di ba? 3 halves, di ba? So therefore, 3.85 divided by 3 halves. Do you remember 3 and 85 is the same as 3 and 85 over 100. Or we can simplify the fraction to 3 and 17 over. Do you remember that's divided by 5? 20, di ba? Divide by 3 halves, di ba? Now, we change to improper fraction muna. So that becomes 77. 77 over 20. 20 times 360 plus 17 is 77. Then times 2 over 3. Di ba? Kasi nag-reciprocal tayo dito. This one cancels and then we're just left to 10. Di ba? So that becomes 77 over 30. Di ba? And we do not know what the z-score is. Pero if I were to divide that, di ba, remember it will go like this. 77 divided by 30, that's the same as 2. Tama, it's right in between 2. 60. 17, di ba? Add 0. That becomes 5 times 30. 150, di ba? 20. 3, di ba? So therefore, that is the z-score. The z-score is 2.5333 in a bunch of 3s. Now, let's see if we got that z-score right. Okay? So now we type that in Excel para mas madali. Okay? So we type there, standardize. Wait lang muna. Okay. So, ganito kasi yun. So, di ba remember the z-score, the one we got on the left is, ano to, negative 1 and 2 thirds. So, you know, you just type in your calculator, ganon. So, therefore, we type here, 72.5 minus 75. Then, on the denominator, we have sigma 12 over square root of 64, or which is simply 8. So, tama, that's the right answer. The answer is negative 1.6667, or we can round that up to negative 1 and 2 thirds. That is correct. Now, on the right-hand side, you might remember we have positive 2.5333 and a bunch of 3's. So let's type this in our Z table. So now we have 78.85, di ba? We type that, change the equation. And then what happened is, press equal and we get 2 and 17 over 30. That's the same as 77 over 30. Tama, that is correct. Ah, wait, it's not 3, 3, 3, 3 and a bunch of 3's. It is 6 pala. Kasi po, di ba, remember, 20, I thought kasi that's 18, di ba? So that is 6. So 6, 180. Then 200 again. So I got wrong computation because I thought kasi that was 2.533 and a bunch of 3's. So that is 2.56666 and a bunch of 6's. Alright? So therefore, I stand corrected. That is not the right answer. Pero yun talaga yung nangyari, okay? Now, we write this in our formula. So therefore, the Z is 2.5667. Okay? Now, we locate by the Z table to find the corresponding probability. So the first one is 1.667. So therefore, we just round up to 1.67. So where is 1.67? Ayan, what is it asking for? The tails. So therefore, kailangan tayo mag-subtract, di ba? Or, another solution is, we can get the interiors. Di ba, remember, we got the interiors here, di ba? That is the one. Yung unshaded. Kasi po this one, from here to this side, that is the unshaded region, di ba? Pero, we want the shaded region. So, we can do it like this. Let me show you. Di ba, remember, we need to find the 1.67. So, where is 1.67? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 45.25%. So, therefore, the first Z-score is 45.25%, di ba? 45.25% plus, di ba, remember, it's right here, di ba? From 0 to negative 1, di ba? That is the answer. 45.25%. Then, on the right-hand side, di ba, remember, we got negative 2.567 or 2.57. So, 2.57 is 49.49%. Di ba? So, 49.49. It's right here, di ba? Then, what we simply do is, we add up the numbers. Kasi what do I remember? If it asks for, from that area, that should be the right answer already. Kaya lang, anong sabi sa instruction? It should not lie within this boundary. It's the tails. Kaya that's the reason why we need to add, and then we subtract that from 1. So, therefore, kailangan tayo mag-add. 49.49%. And then that becomes 4. This becomes 7, 14, 9. That is the answer. Pero, that has to lie within this boundary. So, we need to subtract from 1. 100%. So, 100 minus 94.74%. Therefore, the answer is, skip, 0, 5, 2, 6. So, therefore, the answer is 5.26%. Dahil sa nasa tails siya, so kailangan dapat maliit talaga yung mga probabilities. So yan, okay? So now we already have our answer in letter B.